Good morning, my friends. Hope you guys are well. Sorry, it's been a while since I have posted a video. I've been a little busy and working on different things. And by that, I want to say is time is of the essence. And many of us know we all run into the issue of procrastination. And I want to say I'm the king of it, but I'm right there in a lot of you guys who are into procrastination. Something that I still remember is my grandfather said this wonderful phrase, and he drilled it into my head, but obviously it didn't go that far, or it did. I would have been worse if he would have not drilled that into me. He had a cliche, and the cliche was, what you were going to do yesterday, do it today. What you were going to do today, do it now. And that was basically my homework, which I hated to do. So anything that I wanted to do in my schoolwork, I didn't like to do. And then my chores, I didn't like to do it. And, if my mom or my dad had given me some chores to do, or he would give me, he expected me to do it right away. Or say, give me within, period of time I needed to do it. But I always procrastinated when it came to that because there was no motivation. I didn't like to do that stuff. So we do a lot of times those kind of same thing is what we don't really enjoy. We don't want to do it, but we want the effects of it. And it's the same thing like a farmer. He loves to enjoy the fruit. He loves to sell his product, produce and, bring the money in, and he can buy different things, but he necessarily doesn't want to get up, 4 a.m. Not every farmer does. I'm sure they do because that's their livelihood or that's something they are called to do. But they're like, I don't feel like doing it today, and we go through that time and we, but for him to sow the seed, for him to harvest, everything has its proper timing. And if he doesn't do within that period, he could really damage his crops, or he could not get a harvest that he wanted to get. So it's likewise the same way with all of us. We many times lose things in our lives because we never do things appropriate time the way it should go. And I have learned that in my own life, and I want to give you a story. Many years ago, initially when I first got married to my wife, we both had a joint account. And I have always been the money manager of the house. So she would bring her salary in, I would bring my salary, and we would put it together. And then I would run the numbers and see what we could do, what we couldn't. And this thought came to my mind, and I'm pretty sure great minds think alike. So a lot of you probably guys were doing this years before I was born. So many years ago, checks were very prominent. And like these days, there's hardly anybody who writes a check, especially in North America. It's mostly credit card or online payment, or, sometimes it just comes straight from your salary. You don't even see the money. But anyway, the point was when I used to do the checks, or we used to use, credit cards or whatever, we had to make payments. What I would do is I would always round it up. So if it was say $1.25 or $1.32, I would straight put $2 that I have spent $2. And I would sometimes I would put $5 more. And before you know, by the end of the year, the first year, when I did this, I had like $1,000 saved up when I added it all up. And I was like, wow, how did that happen? But it was just a common thing that you do, and it kept me even on my books, so I didn't have to do the pennies or the change. My wife had a personal account, and she would do to the penny. She liked it to the penny. So when I mentioned that to her, I said, look, do this way, you can make money. You can actually have this money in your bank extra as a cushion. And then later on, if you want to buy something, you have that for you. Or save it for future or whatever you want to do. And that was a wonderful idea. And I didn't share that with too many people. It was just personal matter between me and my wife. And maybe I must have passed it on to a couple of people. I don't know if they did anything with that. But the point is, just about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a little longer, I don't know. But Wells Fargo is one of the biggest banks in the US. And our local credit union, they started this thing called ways to save, and that was they would round it up your money. So when you say you spend $3.80, they would take your 20 cents and they'll put it out in another account. They'll create an account for you, and ways to save account, and they will transfer that money into another account for you. And so by the time you're done, you have that change put into, like in those days, older days when we used to use cash a lot, we used to get those, pennies, quarters, or dimes. We would just put it in a jar, if we didn't want to carry it. And before you know, we had $200-$300. So same principle, I used it on my banking thing, and now they do that. And our local bank, our credit union, they have called a rainy day account. So the point I want to make is, if I would have known this and I would have maybe sold the idea to the banking system, I would have made some money out of it. Now, I don't know who came out with that in the banking system. I don't know. I haven't, thought about that, did any research on it. But that just shows a great idea can do much, when we apply ourselves to it and not procrastinate and find the value in it. And there's another thought that I had about in 2007, 2008, I believe. And I did talk to some people about it, people that I trust, and they didn't give much response, including my wife, like, oh, that's a great idea, but who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? So all the negative parts I picked up, like, yeah, really, who would do that? I never dived into that. That was my idea. And now I just learned in 2023 that there is a similar thought that is out there. Now, I know I can expound on that thing that's out there that I can do and maybe make some money out of it. I don't know. But I felt like if I would have just done this kind of thing that is out there, the idea that is making money now for people, for whoever created, it would have been great, and I chose not to do anything with it because somebody said something about it, and I'm like, hey, yeah, maybe it's not gonna work. I feel like many times we talk ourselves out because we don't want to do the work either. Like, oh, that is a lot of work, and who is gonna do this? Who's gonna buy? Who's gonna do that? We tend to listen to advices from the people who actually have nothing. We don't seek people who have actually done something with their lives and have moved on. Now, there's a fine line between that. There are people who do things and they have achieved, but they never say the struggles they faced, the endurance they had to keep going. Everybody wants the fruit, but they don't see, like when you go to the market, fresh fruit, beautiful. But they don't see what the farmer did. Got up at 4 a.m, went out there, toiled the land, did all those things, watered it, and hoping there would be rain. And there's so many layers of things that goes. And that produce that comes into our hand, and it's delicious. There's a lot of labor and time. And if you look in a bigger picture, that farmer would have done none of that. You wouldn't have that fruit. You would go without that fruit. So sometimes if something is birthed into you, Don't delay it. Pray about it. Seek, if you don't believe in praying or whatever, meditate upon it. Understanding is why this thought came to you and how you can move it forward so humanity can benefit out of it and you can make a couple of bucks out of it. So I would say procrastination is the biggest enemy of our fruit that we could eat and bear. And we don't enjoy doing the labor, but we always want the harvest. So if we put our mindset aside from the labor and keep the eye on the price, on the fruit, we'll definitely receive that joy and that peace of having that fruit. And not to mention, that tree, those trees behind me, when they were planted or however they were there, somebody had to do that. And of course, it's a creator. I believe in creation, so he makes it grow. But that tree behind me is a great example to me that tree, particular trees that are around there, gives me shade, and gives a shade to the animals, gives them a place to live, birds to a place to nest up there. So much benefit out of that. If that tree would have never grown and just died in there, none would benefit, and neither would the tree go. So plant yourself as a seed in life and see yourself grow, so that when you grow, you become that strong tree that bears fruit the world can enjoy, and so can you. You can benefit of the fellowship of the people who can benefit out of you. So by all this, I will say is that I will continue to do videos on my journey, and I'll let you know where I'm speaking from. Until then, use your time wisely and do not procrastinate, because time is of the essence. You have a wonderful day, and we'll chat later.